So if you've clicked on this video, you are probably aware that Allegorithmic has become part of the Adobe family. And me, being a huge fan of Substance Painter, I do tutorials on this channel and I teach students on Udemy. So I thought I would just give you my view on this, because everybody had this knee-jerk reaction being Adobe and the reputation they currently have, which is not great. The backlash and the outpouring of what can only be described as grief, I think, is quite astonishing, because Allegorithmic have a place in a lot of people's hearts. You know, the software is astonishing, and you know, quite frankly, being absorbed into the Adobe family is quite daunting and scary, I would imagine, for the staff at Allegorithmic and for the users, who many have not had a great experience with Adobe. I would say right now, don't panic. Why do I say that? Okay, let's look at Adobe. For example, Adobe have a very different relationship with their fans than Allegorithmic do. And in the past, they seem to have consumed and eradicated companies like they were snacks at a party. And there's a huge concern that Allegorithmic would go the same way. Well, I actually don't think this will happen. Substance products have revolutionized the way we texture our models. It's revolutionized the games industry, the movie industry, like nothing else has, basically. And it has transformed not just games, but many other industries too. It's way too important for it to fall by the wayside. It's way too important for Adobe just to swallow it up and spit it out. It's just never going to happen. So putting Adobe's reputation aside for one moment, they do get behind products they believe in. Products they believe will have an impact, like Photoshop. So many industries use Photoshop. Premiere used extensively, After Effects, etc. And now they are making their way into the 3D industry. And what better way to start this journey than to acquire the best 3D painting software that exists? So personally, I think the Allegorithmic team will do great things there, things we've not even dreamed of. That's if Adobe let them, of course. However, there are some elements that worry me about this relationship a little bit. Allegorithmic were really good at communicating with their community and listening to the feedback. In fact, they appear to thrive on it, and the fans loved them for it too. They built a great mutual relationship, but now, under a massive corporate $9 billion umbrella that could be lost. It could just disappear. And if that should happen, it'll be Allegorithmic's first sort of stumbling block, if you like. Because the fans don't believe in Adobe. They don't believe that Adobe will listen to them. So Allegorithmic and the Substance products have got to have some sort of autonomy. They can't just be swallowed by Adobe. The second concern is the accessibility to the software. Currently, Allegorithmic products are priced perfectly, with several options available. Enough options to cater for students, individual contractors, small indie teams, larger studios, even hobbyists. And they have a perpetual license that can be purchased in one hit or over time, with the maintenance fee added also. If these options should disappear, I fear they could be failing their current and more specifically their future audience. If it gets swallowed into the CC family, Adobe's cloud-based subscription service, it will only be accessible to the corporates, the big companies who can afford it, and that would be a travesty. And this brings me on to the third concern, and that's pricing. CC is out of reach for the majority of people who want to learn this stuff, so they must retain an option for the indie space and for the little guy who works from home, because too many people have spliced the software into their pipeline for them to simply drop it into the CC family. It would be devastating if they just did that. I mean, most of the people who use Substance products don't really want to use CC. the cloud-based system. They just want to use Painter or Designer. I mean, Photoshop, yes, and Substance Painter does have a Photoshop button on it, so you can squirt your images straight into Photoshop. But the majority don't really care. They don't want to use Premiere or After Effects. This is fundamental. This is the element that Adobe don't seem to understand, or they do, but they simply care more about the dollar. So the timing of this announcement, I think, is pretty interesting too, because with the advent of Alchemist, which looks freaking awesome, the new piece of software replacing B2M is going to smash together the 2D space and the 3D space like you've never seen before. And I think Adobe have realized this and had some input into Alchemist. We don't know that for sure. I'm just assuming. This is my feeling. And they have been funding Allegorithmic for the last couple of years. So that alone is interesting, because they wouldn't do that for nothing. Just think about that. Why would Adobe invest tons of money for the last couple of years into Allegorithmic if they didn't want something out of it? So I think you can expect a huge Photoshop / Alchemist merge of some kind. If you're a Photoshop user, you'll know that it hasn't changed for quite some time. But now I believe it's about to get a kick up the backside, but that's just my opinion. It's interesting though how the Substance products have started looking like Adobe products in the last 12 months or so. Since 2018, with the new interface, they look very sort of similar, with that dark background and the buttons all looking very similar and stuff. So it's really cool. It's really interesting. So having said all this, I think for the time being, you're going to be fine. I think, just keep using the software, and they have said options are coming. We don't know what they are yet, and they said exciting things are afoot, but we don't know what they are either. They will honour any deals that are currently in progress, like the perpetual licenses from users who have paid over time, because they simply have to. They cannot not support that. They cannot deliver that, because I'm sure there's be some legal reasons why they can't deliver that. They have to keep, they have to honour what has already gone. Not only that, I don't think they'll want to piss their fans off. There's no way they'll want to alienate all their fan base. They're just too important to Allegorithmic, and I think vice versa as well. So who knows? Maybe Allegorithmic will teach Adobe a thing or two about customer service. That's my feeling. I think they'll go in, because I know the head of Allegorithmic is going to be a big chief in the 3D part of Adobe. So we'll see what strings he can pull and what impact he actually has. I would say judge them on their actions. Wait and see what happens. They may even surprise us all. In the meantime, simply enjoy the software, because it's awesome. So that's it. I hope you found that interesting, and I will see you next time.